Another thing you can do is to take stock of your situation honestly and notice which areas of your life have been most affected. How have your health, your finances, your mental well-being, your friendships and relationships, how have they been affected since this person came into your life? Welcome to Life After Narcissism. I'm Shah, and I use my first-hand experience to bring hope, encouragement and practical tips to help women to recover, feel better and rebuild their lives after narcissistic abuse. So in today's episode, friends, we're exploring an aspect of narcissistic abuse that it really impacts far beyond the end of the relationship. And that is how narcissists systematically drain every resource you have. If you've ever found yourself wondering, why am I so exhausted all the time? Or where's all my money gone? This episode will give you clarity. We'll break down exactly how this resource depletion works, why it's intentional, and most importantly, how understanding this pattern is crucial for your recovery from narcissistic abuse. Understanding this will help you to see with clarity exactly what's been going on in the relationship that you are in, and it will serve as a proof that you need to confirm whether what you're experiencing is narcissistic abuse. Something you need to be clear about, friend, is that depleting your resources is not an accident. It didn't just happen. It's a deliberate tactic narcissists use to maintain control. Now, when I say resources, I'm talking about your emotional energy, your physical strength, literal physical resources, finances, even your spiritual connection with God, everything. There's nothing out of bounds for these people. When all of these things are depleted, you become completely dependent on them. And that, my friend, is exactly what they want. It's like a slow drain on every area of your life until there's nothing left. One of the 3 pillars of the recovery plan I've developed is recognize. This is the education piece which fits in very well here. It's important, friend, that you recognize that this systematic draining happens so gradually that you often don't notice it until you're completely empty, completely depleted. It's so subtle. What it looks like is you start making excuses for why you're always feeling so tired and exhausted. Or you kind of just gloss over why your finances all of a sudden seem to be a struggle and you're noticing that you don't have as much as you're used to having. Can also look like you feeling disconnected from God and others, friends, family, etc. In relationships with narcissists, this becomes the norm. But friend, these aren't normal relationship dynamics. This is purposeful manipulation designed to strip away your ability to think clearly or leave. So let's look at what this looks like emotionally. Friend, narcissists are like emotional vampires. What they like to do is to create constant drama, crises, and chaos that require your emotional energy to resolve. Have you noticed how they are always in problems with other people? There's always some kind of conflict or another. Every day becomes about managing their moods, walking on eggshells, or trying to fix the problems that they've created. And then, because of how you're never really sure what you're going to get with them, you find yourself constantly anxious about setting them off. And this causes you to be emotionally exhausted from their roller coaster of emotions, unable to even address or tend to your own self and process your own feelings because you're too busy managing theirs. This is a continued pattern which eventually results in you losing your ability to feel joy or excitement about anything. Your emotional world shrinks down to just surviving their next outburst or trying to get back those brief good moments. It's important to recognize that healthy relationships should energize you, even through difficult times. They don't drain you. Now, think about it. In relationships that are healthy, even when you have difficulties or challenges, you're able to work through them because those times don't make up the majority of your relationship. And in healthy relationships, you're usually dealing with someone who is healthy, rational, and understands how to operate in a functional way. Toxic relationships, which is what narcissistic abuse is, it's a toxic relationship, on the other hand, drain you consistently. So here's how you can evaluate your own situation. If you're always giving emotional support, but never receiving it, if your emotions are constantly being dismissed or used against you, it's very likely that you're experiencing emotional resource depletion. Now, as followers of Jesus Christ, women who love the Lord, from a faith perspective, we must always come back to what God intended. I have a friend, and when she sees things that aren't operating in the way that they should, or when she can see that there's something that should be glorifying God, she always asks the question, what was God's original purpose or intention for this? So with that in mind, we must consider what God intended for our relationships. God designed relationships to be sources of mutual encouragement and support and joy. Doesn't mean that everything is fine all the time, but we certainly shouldn't be depleted. We're told that it's not good for man to be alone in Genesis, and while that may be specific for romantic relationships, I think it's a reflection of the wider sense that we are to be in community. There's a verse that tells us that a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Healthy relationships should strengthen you, not leave you depleted and isolated from God's peace. I'd love to hear from you, friend. If you have an idea for an episode topic, or if you'd like to be on the show to share your survivor story, or if you'd just like to ask a question, you can email me at hello@charlenelee.com. I look forward to hearing from you. So let's talk about physical resource depletion in terms of how it impacts your body. Sadly, friend, the stress of narcissistic abuse literally attacks your physical body. Chronic stress from living in survival mode wreaks havoc on every system: your immune system, your sleep patterns, digestion, your energy levels. You might experience chronic fatigue, so no matter how much sleep you get, you still feel tired. Frequent illnesses are also common and can be a sign of physical resource depletion. The chronic stress causes your immune system to be compromised. Digestive issues, headaches or unexplained physical pain, and sleep disturbances or insomnia from hypervigilance. All of these things aren't uncommon in this situation. And I've spoken about the physical impact of narcissistic abuse in an episode called The Physical Toll of Narcissistic Abuse, and I'll leave a link to that episode in the description. Friend, when you're physically depleted, you can't think clearly, you can't make good decisions, and neither do you have the energy you need to put the thought into making the best decisions for yourself and your future. This physical exhaustion, friend, it's not your fault. It isn't laziness. It's your nervous system responding to chronic threat. Your body is trying to protect you, but it's running on empty because the threat never goes away. So let's talk quickly about financial resource depletion. Financial abuse is one of the most effective ways narcissists maintain control. Somehow, without you even realizing it, they can end up controlling all the finances while contributing little or nothing. Because they cannot stand for anyone else to be in the limelight other than themselves, they may even attempt to sabotage your career or prospective opportunities to keep you down so that they can feel good about themselves and maintain control. It's also very common for them to create financial emergencies that drain your savings. With narcissists, it's always something. There's always some kind of emergency that you have to respond to very quickly. It requires immediate action, namely your money to solve whatever situation is going on. And they always promise to pay you back or to return it, but that never, ever happens. Friend, they'll use and destroy your good credit because likely they've destroyed their own. Or another way that they control your finances is making you feel so guilty for any money you spend on yourself, to the point where you second guess and hold back from spending on yourself, all the while you're being manipulated into spending on them. It's important to recognize, friend, that financial independence equals freedom to leave. And that's exactly why they systematically undermine your ability to support yourself. They need you financially dependent so you feel trapped and with no options. The financial control often comes disguised as, taking care of you or handling the finances so you don't have to worry. But healthy financial partnerships, they're not this way. They involve transparency, mutual decision-making, and plans about how, where, and when money will be spent. And in healthy relationships, there's also respect for each other's contributions. When someone controls your access to money and sabotages your earning potential or creates financial chaos, and chaos is a big thing that narcissists like to create, they're using money, friend, as a weapon of control. As followers of Jesus, perhaps the most insidious depletion is spiritual abuse. Narcissists, even those who claim to be Christians, will often mock your faith or make you feel guilty for the spiritual discipline you practice, the time you devote to prayer or church or Bible study or other things that pertain to your spiritual walk. They can create so much chaos that you can't focus on those things or even participate at all. They'll twist scripture and use it against you to justify their behavior or demand your submission, to isolate you from your faith community, or leave you so exhausted that spiritual disciplines feel impossible. Friend, this is a giant red flag. Anything that draws you away from God is not of God. God never intended for relationships to separate you from Him. And if someone consistently makes it harder for you to connect with God and causes you to question His goodness or makes you doubt your worth, that's a form of spiritual abuse. Now, spiritual abuse is a topic all of its own, which deserves its own episode. But just be aware that this does happen in relationships when narcissistic abuse is present. So thinking about the second pillar, which is recover, how do we recover when we've had our resources drained? The first step is recognizing the depletion pattern. You can do this by starting to document how you feel after interactions with them. Do you feel energized and happy and encouraged? Or do you feel drained and anxious and even confused? Another thing you can do is to take stock of your situation honestly and notice which areas of your life have been most affected. How have your health, your finances, your mental well-being, your friendships and relationships, how have they been affected since this person came into your life? And be honest. Gathering this evidence will provide you with the proof that you need to start taking action to make the necessary changes. Moving forward, healthy relationships should add to your life, friend, not subtract from it. because you deserve relationships that encourage your faith, support your goals, respect your boundaries, and leave you feeling energized rather than constantly drained. So what we've looked at today is one aspect of narcissistic abuse, which is the depletion of your resources. And we've been thinking about physical, spiritual, emotional, financial. And my hope is that understanding that the depletion of your resources is a tactic to control and manipulate you. And now that you have this awareness, I hope that it will help you not to blame yourself for the situation you find yourself in. It was caused by someone systematically taking everything you had to give and never giving anything back in return in order to control you. And as always, friend, I commend you for taking steps to free yourself of the control of the narcissist, whether you're still in a relationship with them or not. Because even if you're no longer with them, there can still be control over your life that they have. Listening to this podcast, friend, is a step in the right direction. Now, as always, I'd love to hear from you. So if you'd like to be on the show, or you have a question or a topic you'd like me to cover, you can email me at hello@charlenelee.com. And as always, friends, remember that there is life